We are interviewing Mr. Billy Black on June 26th, 2012 at the Mooresville Public Library on the history of Juneteenth. Why don't we start out, explain what Juneteenth is first.
Okay, Juneteenth is a proclamation and where that Abraham Lincoln had let the slaves free in 1863, and in Texas they kept the knowledge from them, and they didn't find out till 2.5 years later to 1865. And so people came up with a holiday called Juneteenth that they celebrated the freedom of the African Americans in the United States of America.
Okay.
And this was the beginning of Juneteenth, and they had a big festival, picnic, and everything was free. And it was a celebration because during that time they couldn't vote. During that time they couldn't worship together because we wasn't classified as being human beings. There was no humanity during that time for African Americans, and so that opened the beginning of freedom. And so from that day on, we have been receiving a little with education, jobs, and different things. Because now when they were free, a lot of them, they had to go back to the plantations and the farms and work because that's all they knew. And some they stayed on the farms, some left and they went up north in different places. And to right today, they celebrate, a Juneteenth. But here in Mooresville.
Yeah, how did it get started here?
Okay, it started here in Mooresville. It came from Statesville. A Muslim community, a mosque called Master al-Mu'minun in Statesville. Imam Salahuddin Hassan received the word from Imam W.D. Muhammad. Now, he was the Muslim leader of America of the West, from Chicago.
Yep.
He asked us to, go throughout the United States, and get African Americans, Christians and different denominations and races to begin to celebrate this more because they were doing it in Texas. And a lot of people, they didn't know anything about it. And so we started doing it, and so like now all over the United States, all 50 states, they celebrate, Juneteenth. And in Mooresville, we started Juneteenth with the Eastern Heights Reunion. The Eastern Heights Community Watch. We started about 8 years ago. In Statesville, they started probably about 11 years ago.
Okay.
So they was doing it about 2 or 3 years before we was, and I was in Statesville. I belong to an organization called Impact now that works with young people.
Yeah.
And so we started there, the Christian community, in the Muslim in that community, a group of men that work together to make a better that society not for youth and everything, or boys. And so I decided to bring it to Mooresville. And we had it at the Winnie Hooper Center the first year we had it. And it was small. A lot of people, they didn't show up, they didn't know what it was. And then from there on, we moved it to Willow Valley Park, and we've been having it ever since. And 2012, this year, was our 8th year. So this is our 8th anniversary of Juneteenth here in Mooresville. Now, how Juneteenth benefits Mooresville, I think, that it brings the different religions and the different races and diversity of people together to celebrate our freedom of America, because our forefathers of this country went all over the world, and they they received knowledge and they brought it all back to America. I look at America to be a Joseph's coat, because we have every tribe,
Yeah.
from around the world, you know, you know, that lives here, and this is what made America so great. And so
Yeah.
Juneteenth, to me, it fits this, a celebration, because everybody was in slavery some type of way, somehow. And right today, we try to let our young people know that the only way in America that you are in slavery is when you don't have an education. And this is why education is so important. And President Obama and our leaders in our country, is are pushing young people for education and growth, because that's where our future is.
Yeah.
Because I'm 58 years old, and I always tell my sons, I said, look, I said, my world and your world is two different worlds, because they like another jobs and things that we did back then, it's totally different now. And so so we have to learn what y'all learned to keep up. Now, but you got to have it, because we already off the porch, but you got to get off the porch. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So, okay, now has in the 8 years, I mean, that
Yes.
you've been doing it and everything, and have you seen a bigger support from the community as a whole toward it come about? I mean, are you getting more support from the whole community of Mooresville to keep going with it, to keep it alive? Because I mean, it's a very important thing. I mean, so is it? And I guess what I'm trying to say is that most things, kind of when they reach that point, they start to fiddle out, because the next generation go, well, that's my parents, that's not me. I mean, is it? You think it's getting bigger and keeping going, or?
Yes, I think it's. I think it has grown over the years. The only thing that I don't see is a lot of immigrants. Now, I think that a lot of immigrants don't understand, or they feel though that they're not a part of it, because they're from a different country. But we all are immigrants. Our forefathers and different ones, they came from different nations and tribes all around the world,
Yeah.
and but like now, they came up in a different type of struggle, and I don't think they understand that. But I wish they would come, and they are welcome, because they are Americans now, and they need to realize that you need to know the history
Yeah.
of America, so you would understand more.
And do you think it's still having the same impact with the younger generation?
Whether a younger generation, some understand, some don't understand. Now, because a lot of the ones has never been through that type of struggle.
Yeah.
And we try to get them to come, because it's a lot of history that they don't teach in school, that that we can give them there, because the school, the government sort of limitates a lot of history that that they're not going to teach in school, that I can say publicly, but now but the public school can't say it, because everything is monitored.
Yeah.
And everything, and
Yeah. It is. And yeah, and of course with technology and everything,
Yes.
the newer generation's getting a different spin.
Right. Yeah.
Because on it and everything.
Yes,
So,
right.
I mean, that's why things like this are very important.
Right.
I mean,
Because now we're in a global market.
yes.
And we used to be, just one country kind of closed off to ourselves. But now, we are in a global market, and you may have to talk to someone or deal with someone from anywhere in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've noticed too, a lot of that is becoming a lot with not just celebrations like this,
Yes.
but all kinds of celebrations, is that we're no longer a people of community. We're a people of texting or twittering, and we're losing that social connection.
Right.
Face
Well, the
to
thing
face.
about it, we need community life, because God talks about, not community life, because when you deal with, not community, you deal with humanity. And like now, and that's one of the things that in the civil rights struggle that now that Malcolm X said. He said that, he didn't deal with civil rights, he dealt with humanity. And like now, and the world needs to deal with, humanity.
Yep.
Because when you get into civil rights, now everybody want rights that is not human. That is not a God-fearing.
Yeah.
I mean, so you can get in a lot of trouble with that, everything. And I think America, we have learned that, and now we're so deep in it now, that it's hard to get out of it.
That's true.
Yeah.
Well, okay. Talking about, let's go down the road with Juneteenth down in the future. What do you see for the future of Juneteenth? I mean, do you see this as becoming like the community taking it over as a whole and doing it, or do you see it as still within inside the Eastern Heights, or because as you said, they helped start it and everything,
Right. Okay.
So I mean, so how do you see this getting bigger and growing down the road?
What I don't see it, but what I like to see the whole community, because we started, and we would love to see, not a whole community to be a part of it.
Right.
And everything, and I don't know how we're going to do this, but we're trying, we have people to, now to get involved, but so many people now are doing their own thing, and, they're in this, so many different things, and,
Right.
and but I'm not selfish, I would love to see, someone one day to, take it over, because, I can get burned out, because I can feel it now, but like, I would love to see, other people, to carry this on and go forward. But I would love for them to stay on the mark, because we are the only ones who have a free Juneteenth. Everywhere else you go, people are selling. And the reason why I started the free Juneteenth is because when I was in Statesville, North Carolina, I saw children that came, and they was needing to hear the knowledge, and they was needing to learn. Now, and everything, and they was needing to rejoice and have a good time like everyone else, and they didn't have money. They came out of a poor families, and they just didn't have it, because families now, they are really struggling, even the middle class.
Yeah.
And so I said, well, hey, what we'll do is, we'll do it free, so the whole community, that can be on one accord and everything. Now, that particular day, I would love to see everybody, on an equal level. Now, where that, we all can rejoice and learn, and, have a good time and everything. So it's from top to bottom, and I just love to see that.
See it come.
Yeah. But we're the only ones, that I know of, that have a free Juneteenth, that we don't charge anything.
And that's a good thing.
Yeah.
That's a good thing. Thing. You got any questions? You think of anything?
And I like to thank the town of Mooresville. And I like to thank the businesses here, for supporting us.
Yeah.
We have had a great deal of support, from volunteers, in the businesses and in the city of Mooresville, for the last 8 years.
Yeah, because I was getting ready to say this has really been a community effort,
Yes,
because
right.
the town, the businesses, the churches, the people, they've all it's been a big community thing to
Yes.
help, which is wonderful. I mean, which gives it hope that it's going to keep going, and
Right.
so more and more people can come together and understand and learn, and
Right.
And all, that's a good thing. That's now, let's see. Oh, the younger generation. Do you
Yes.
think it's still having the big impact on them? Because as you said, it's two different worlds.
Yes,
you come from a different
yes.
world than they
Yes.
come from.
Yeah, I really think it do, because that they need something to hold on to, because they don't have that much left to them. Now our children, now that when they come along, now they don't have a lot handed down to them, and so they have to make their own happiness.
Yeah.
And like and I think that that Juneteenth is something that they can look afford to. Like their own holiday, because like in America, like they celebrate more holidays that's not theirs. Now in their culture than anything else, but like but the young generation, they look at their culture to be more of a American culture now. Now you know what I mean, and the older people, they looked at their culture to be more of an African American culture.
Yep.
And so it's a different science and thought, because they were raised different, and and the environment has changed.
Yep.
For the better.
Yeah.
Now but you don't never supposed to forget who you are and where you come from. And so this is why we say a Juneteenth is a time that that they can hold on to something that's theirs, that something that happened, and like now and I think history. Now the reason why we have history now so it won't repeat itself no more.
That's right.
So that the mistakes and the good and bad from the past.
Yep.
Yes.
And that's part of too what we do with the oral histories is
Yes.
to get
Right.
to have the people who went through that to tell their stories and so forth, so that the next generation can remember when
Right.
and not repeat themselves.
Right.
And not,
That's right.
Yeah, and not repeat it and everything. So, and that's one of the things why I think this has been a good community, because as you said, it's not a secular holiday. It's not a holiday for one group. It's for everybody. I mean,
Yes.
it is, because in some way everybody was impacted by the events that led up to the Civil War and after and all.
Right.
So it is. It's something for all to a holiday for all to remember and grow and so forth from. So and all. But anyway, and we do thank y'all for doing.
Okay.
Thank
and
you
thank
for
you very
doing,
much.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So, and